Good evening. I would like to call to order the April 10th, 2024 regular school committee meeting at 5:30. Unfortunately, Katie Anderson is unable to attend tonight's meeting, and congratulations to Mr. Chris Moncada for his election onto the school committee. We're very happy to be working with you, Chris, and congratulations to Bridget Garabedian for her re-election to the school committee. At this time, I will entertain a nomination for the position of chairperson of the Tewksbury School Committee.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Bridget Garabedian to continue her role as chair.
The name of Bridget Garabedian has been nominated. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations for the position of chairperson? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion that nominations for chairperson be closed. Motion,
So moved.
I'll second.
okay. On the name of Bridget Garabedian, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Just point of order, I accept the nomination.
Oh.
Carry on.
This is good. Again, on the name of Bridget Garabedian as chairperson, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Congratulations, Ms. Garabedian. I have a gift for you.
Thank you all for your nomination. And so at this time, I will entertain a nomination for the position of vice chairperson of the Tewksbury School Committee.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Rich Russo as vice chair.
We have a nomination for Rich. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, nomination for Rich by Caleb Biagioni Smith, a second by Mr. Moncada. And do you accept the nomination, Mr. Russo?
Sure, I would accept, yeah.
That's an affirmative. And all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion passes 4-0. Are there any other nominations? So we now move on to our nominations for clerk. And do we have a nomination for clerk?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Chris Moncada as the top vote getter, or the newest member, actually, not the top vote getter, the newest member. You got the chair position, but yeah, Chris Moncada for clerk.
And
I'll second that.
Sure. And so we have a motion by Caleb Biagioni Smith, a second by Mr. Russo. Mr. Moncada, would you accept that?
I accept it.
Okay, and no additional nominations?
No.
Okay. Hearing none, entertaining a motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and the motion passes unanimous 4-0. Okay, and then at this time, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session for collective bargaining purposes with, to discuss TTA teachers and contracts.
So moved.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Moncada, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
Mrs. Biagioni Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well, for that 4-0 vote again. And we will resume at 6:30 PM. Okay, good evening. We reconvene our April 10th, 2024 regular school committee meeting at 6:30 PM. I'd like to first welcome and congratulate Mr. Chris Moncada for your election to school committee. We look forward to working with you. Katie Anderson is not with us here tonight. She could not make it. And I want to thank the residents of Tewksbury for re-electing me to the school committee. I think I'm really excited to continue this work, so I appreciate their trust in me. I would like to just mention with Chris, we were able to connect on Monday, go through a lot of our MASC, materials. Chris was able to meet with our superintendent and try to get up to speed here. So I think we're looking forward to some good days ahead here as a committee. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and for our announcement, today is the April 10th, 2024 regular school committee meeting. It'll be televised and recorded, may be viewed on live, Comcast Channel 22, Verizon Channel 34, or on YouTube.com, Tewksbury TV. Under the open meeting law, the public's permitted to make an audio or video recording of an open session at a public meeting. At this time, I would ask if anybody's recording tonight's meeting. Okay, seeing nobody. The first thing on our agenda is recognition with VFW Post 8164. And Mrs. Terry O'Regan, if you could tell us something about what they're here for today.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. The first of our recognitions tonight goes to 6th grade Ryan School student Brady Anderson for his successful essay to the VFW's Patriots Pen Contest themed, "How are you inspired by America?" So I'd like to invite Brady and both Mr. Vinny Oliva and Mr. James Williams from the Tewksbury's VFW Post 8164 to talk about this winning essay. So come on up to the podium, Brady. Okay. Vinny?
All right. Good evening. Thank you, Mrs. Regan, for having us here tonight. I see one new face on the committee, and Chris, I congratulate you. And Bridget, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tewksbury has done well over the years, placing first, second, and third throughout the 17 districts in the state. This year is no different. Our first place winner at the Tewksbury Post and district level is Brady Anderson, who is a 6th grade student from the John Ryan School. Brady moved into the state competition and placed second overall, where he received the $400 from the VFW and a check for $150 from the auxiliary award. In addition, I'd like to present Brady with a $100 check from the Tewksbury VFW Post 8164. Okay, that's from our post here, Tewksbury. And another check for $100 from the District 15. So there are 70.
This is lucky day.
There's a total of 17 district posts in the district, and Brady outshined all of them, came in first, so that was awesome. Great achievement. With the checks, we have a nice, handsome certificate, and it's Veteran to Foreign Wars of the United States and its auxiliary Youth Essay Certificate of Merit presented to Brady Anderson for recognition and excellence of the Patriots Pen Youth Essay Competition. You have been designated an outstanding young spokesperson of the future. Signed by myself, the adjutant, and the auxiliary. So, congratulations.
Yes, Brady, we'd love to hear it. Brady, you can point that microphone down a little if you need it a little closer to you. Here you go.
How are you inspired by America? The United States of America is an incredible country that inspires me in many ways. These are the reasons why. Its history, cultural diversity, and commitment to freedom and equality. These are just a few things that make it special. In this essay, I will share some of the parts of the United States that truly inspire me. One of the things that inspires me is the rich history. Learning about the brave patriots who fought for independence, the leaders who changed the nation, is truly fascinating. The United States is a land where dreams come true, and it motivates me to work hard and pursue my goals. I am inspired by the stories of individuals who overcame challenges and achieved greatness, such inventors as Thomas Edison and brave people such as Rosa Parks. Another part of the United States that inspires me is its cultural diversity. People from all over the planet have come to the United States, bringing with their unique traditions, languages, and perspectives. This country is celebrated in many ways. It teaches me to appreciate different backgrounds and learn from others' experiences. The United States is a place where everybody is given a chance to succeed, regardless of their background. That inspires me to be inclusive and adaptive. What truly sets the United States apart from its commitment and freedom and equality. The country's founding rules and principles stated in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution highlight the rights and liberties of citizens. The United States has continued to strive towards a more perfect union, fighting for civil rights, women's suffrage, and racial justice. This dedication to equality inspires me to stand up and fight for justice and work towards a more inclusive society. The United States reminds me that every individual has a voice and the power to make a difference. In conclusion, the United States is an inspiring country for many reasons. Its history, cultural diversity, and commitment to freedom and equality motivate me to be the best person of myself. I am inspired by the stories of those who have lived before me and the endless possibilities that lie ahead. The United States represents hope, opportunity, and the belief that everything is possible and doable.
Brady, why don't you stay right there for a minute? One of our committee members, Ms. Biagioni Smith, has a recognition for you to read as well. Ms. Anderson, I see you in the very back of the room. Would you like to come on up as well when we do the picture with Brady? That would be really special. Ms. Anderson's been a social studies teacher with the district for many, many, many years and continues to make sure that the VFW Patriots Pen essay contest lives within our classrooms. Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
All right, so I feel like Brady probably should have wrapped us up rather than have me do this, but we are going to read to you a resolution of recognition, whereas Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 8164 sponsored the 23-24 Patriots Pen Essay Competition, grades 6 through 8, and whereas Brady Anderson, a 6th grade student at the John Ryan Elementary School, submitted his Patriots Pen essay on How Are You Inspired by America to the Post 8164. And whereas Brady won the post-level competition and advanced to the district level, placing first, and finished second at the state level competition. And whereas Brady has brought great pride, recognition, and honor to himself, to his family, to the Ryan Elementary School, and to the town of Tewksbury. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tewksbury School Committee applauds, honors, recognizes the exceptional performance of Brady Anderson in the 2023-2024 Patriots Essay Competition. Congratulations.
Because you're going to look right here, Mr. Marshall. The camera is up here. He'll let you know. Everyone come on into the picture.
Yeah, sometimes you.
Yeah, that angle.
Bridget, it's run, yeah, and track me. She's at the track meet. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Brady.
Just have a few more words if I can.
Thank you, Min.
Patriot Pen Essay Competition is to the 6th to 8th grade students the opportunity to write an essay on the annual patriotic theme to express their views on democracy. This year's theme, 2024-25, is My Voice in America's Democracy. You can go to our website, vfw8164.org, under the youth programs, and download the application. In closing, I'd like to thank Mrs. Kathleen Anderson, who has been instrumental in promoting the VFW Patriot Pen program. I introduced the program to Mrs. Anderson 7 years ago, whereas she passed it on to her students as an assignment. We collected around 35 applicants that first year, but then Mrs. Anderson introduced the program to Mrs. Romano and Mrs. Curtis in Vola. We started receiving over 200 applicants ever since. So thank you, Mrs. Anderson, Mrs. Romano, and Mrs. Curtis for making this program a success for the students of Tewksbury. Brady, this was taken out of the VFW magazine. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
coming.
Thank you guys for coming in tonight. We appreciate it. And then before I move on to the next recognition, we had a member reach out from the VFW Auxiliary from Post 8164. And I'm going to ask Mr. Moncada to just give us the information they're asking us to share.
Thank you. All right, so Veterans of Foreign Wars Auxiliary will again offer a nationwide American Creative Patriotic Art Contest. Both two-dimensional and three-dimensional art pieces will be accepted. Students in grades 9 through 12 who are enrolled in a public, private, or parochial high school or in a home study program in the United States are eligible to apply. First place winners from each state will compete for national awards totaling $37,000. Deadline for applications is March 31st, 2025. Tewksbury VFW Auxiliary 8164 will again sponsor any art pieces being submitted for judging. Please contact Mary Williams, Auxiliary Secretary, at 978-851-6064 for more information regarding these scholarships.
Okay, or you could reach out directly to central office, and we can leave that information with Mrs. Johnson. And certainly, anybody who gets in touch with central office, we can get you that information. It's a lot to keep track of. So, all right, thank you so much. And our next recognition, this is kind of a special one as well. Mrs. Terry O'Regan, I'll have you introduce them.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Certainly, this next recognition, this member of our district leadership team, Mr. Richard Pelletier, certainly no stranger to all of us. Rick is our Director of Student Services and Special Education, and if you remember, we announced in the March meeting, Rick will be retiring April 30th, so just a couple of weeks. I'm going to invite Rick and his work family up to the podium so they can support him as we say lots of nice things about him. And while Rick is coming up to the podium, I'll begin if that's okay, Madam Chair. While Rick has been with the Tewksbury Public Schools for the past 13 years, it is an understatement to note that Rick has counseled and served thousands of parents and special educators to provide the best education for their respective students in his career. Since the early 1990s, Rick started his career and his service to education as a reading teacher, a guidance counselor, a supervisor, a team chair, a program coordinator, a department head, evaluation team supervisor, all in the field of special education, and currently now as the Tewksbury Public Schools Special Ed District Director. He truly understands the needs of families and students and has been a source of expertise for all of us in that goal of educating and supporting the needs of all. Most people will never know the lifetime of experiences Rick has had in championing for the disabled. He serves with a deep personal and professional commitment and passion for the work. But the most impressive characteristic I know I have observed time and time again is Rick's capacity for an unending patience and compassion for the families he serves, especially for those who are struggling the most, the ones that need us the most, and even when they don't know it. You might imagine that many of the issues that hit Rick's desk are often the most difficult ones and may come with heightened emotions from families that are concerned for their child. Sure, I've watched as Rick follows the law and the special ed process, but moreover, how he stays calm no matter how tough a situation has become, and how he, most importantly, always prioritizes his genuine care for the students, the families, and the educators he serves. Rick, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your commitment to special education and for all you've taught and counseled me in this process. But mostly thank you for how you've treated the people you have both served and worked alongside with. I will miss our talks of your travels, the potato farm, your family, and mostly I will miss you. I do wish you the best as you enter this new phase of your life. Thank you, Rick. Yep, there are going to be, I think, maybe other comments.
Congratulations, Rick. You were one of the first people that I had the privilege of collaborating with, and I'm forever grateful for your guidance in that collaboration. Someone once told me that retirement felt like 6 Saturdays and 1 Sunday. I cherish that thought. So I wish you endless days of joy, relaxation, and adventure as you embark on this next chapter. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Rick, congratulations, and thank you for sharing your knowledge with me while you've been here. Can't tell you how much I've learned about special education from you, how the laws work. Your knowledge is unmatched in this area, and not just the knowledge, though. You genuinely care about all the kids in the district and what you do, and it's really, you can tell it means a lot to you every day that you come to work and do your job. Very difficult tasks, spread across 6 different buildings, 6 different programs, 6 different administrators, plus the multitude of out-of-district placements, and managing it all, knowing the details and seeing the big picture. It's a very difficult task, and you've done it great over the years that I've seen here in the district, and appreciate the work and appreciate you being here and being friends with you for this long. We'll miss you, and don't forget to pick up the phone when we call.
Madam Chair.
Answer my phone.
Yes.
Before we, can we allow Ms. Candace Barrett? I think she
Please.
has something she'd like to say to you as well, Rick.
It is with great pleasure that I stand here today and talk about our fearless leader of all things special education, Mr. Rick Pelletier. Rick Pelletier has been the backbone of our special education department for the last 13 years. He's dedicated his time, knowledge, and expertise to a very important mission here in Tewksbury. Rick's mission each and every day has been to ensure that all students at Tewksbury Public Schools receive the education they deserve, and that all of the faculty and staff have what they need to make that happen. He wanted kids to get what they needed to thrive and grow, and he wanted all kids to feel included. He was always grateful anytime staff provided updates on the successes of our students. Those are the moments are truly why Rick devoted his career to this district. He truly wants what is best for the kids. As the director of special education, it may seem like a thankless job, and on many days it maybe is, because it's hard to be the bottom line. And by the bottom line, I mean just ensuring that the district remains consistent in adhering to the special ed regulations set forth in Massachusetts. If you've worked closely with Rick, you will often hear him say, "Follow the process." If you follow the process, it levels the playing field for all students and families. And then that they can be met with equity and fairness. At the end of the day, Rick was going to tell you what was right for the student, but also what was within the parameters of our laws and regulations. Rick did his job. He did his job extremely well. He showed up each and every day at full capacity for this community and worked tirelessly to support great change for our students and faculty. He is the reason for our foundation and success here in special education in Tewksbury. I have been a testament to this success as I have seen across the years so much growth in our district. Although we know the work ahead will continue to be challenging, we have to take a step back and think about all the good here in our district, especially in special education. If you've been around for a while, you can hear me and understand what I'm saying. We've come a very long way with a very strong and devoted leader. Rick provided a space for staff to grow and ideas to flourish. It's amazing to truly think back at all we have accomplished with Rick at the helm. With that being said, all of us that know you and have had the pleasure to have worked with you, thank you. We appreciate you, we see you, we're grateful and proud to have known you and fought alongside you.
You're doing great.
On behalf of the students. Retirement is the next chapter. It is not goodbye, but see you later. As you embark on your next journey and adventure in France and beyond, enjoy your time. You deserve the absolute best. You'll be missed so much more than you know. Thank you, Rick, from all of us at Tewksbury Public Schools.
Just before you go real quick, and I would love for you to speak, I just want to see, anyone on the committee have any comments or thoughts to share?
I'll just wish you the very best of luck. It's been a pleasure to be able to connect a little bit more on some of the subcommittee work that we've done. I wish you all the best in the next chapter.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, same here, Rick. I mean, you were instrumental in trying to help me on board when I first got on the committee a couple of years ago. So appreciate all the efforts. And, you know, it's always a struggle, right? Everything is, nothing comes easy. And you helped make that easy. So appreciate the efforts and all that you were doing for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And my comment, you have always made me feel like you have unlimited time for me. I have the simplest question, but you have always been very dedicated to being sure that the proper information is shared. You don't hold back. If it's good information, if it's not great information to hear, you're willing to share it. And so I appreciate your openness and your honesty when it comes to all the conversations. And then you're always putting students first. I can't say how much that has guided me and helped me as we take the votes that we take or decision-making things. You've really been a beacon for me in that way. So I want to say thank you, and you are going to be so missed. So, you know, enjoy
you
your
very
time.
much for the
And Chris,
kind
is there
words.
anything you'd like to add?
I'm starting, you're leaving. I hope that's not a thing. Good luck to you. I wish we had a chance to do more together, but good luck to you.
Yes.
Good luck as well to you.
Thank you.
If I may.
Yes, please.
Madam Chairperson, and thank you. And thank you, Mrs. Regan, for your kind words. Reflecting on the 13 fulfilling years, I deeply grateful for the unwavering support and the incredible impact our school community has had on my life. Your kind words and heartfelt anecdotes earlier today and tonight have not only touched my heart, but also reminded me of the genuine connections we built together. I am proud to have witnessed our faculty, staff, and students' personal growth and transformation, a testament to our collective efforts. During my time here, I learned that collaboration is born from our successes. Our dedicated faculty, from teachers to paraprofessionals, educational support personnel to administrators, school PACs, including the CPAC, the parent volunteers, all form the backbone of our school system. Collectively, you are all the educators, mentors, guides, and champions of the students. You are the beacons of the community, leading and nurturing our children along their educational journey with dedication and compassion. Your role in shaping the children's future is invaluable and integral. Together, we have embarked on a journey of education, navigating its complexities and ensuring every student receives the quality learning experience they deserve. our collective achievements, from overcoming challenges to celebrating victories, testify to our unity and commitment to excellence. The twists and turns that mark our journey have not deterred us. They have defined our collective spirit in creating and nurturing an inclusive learning environment for our students. To the school committee, past and present, your dedication and commitment to our schools are not only admirable, but also immeasurable. Your leadership is in budget management and support of curriculum innovation, such as the recent implementation of the EL curriculum, has significantly enhanced the students' learning experience. Your commitment to excellence shines through every decision, and I'm thankful for your support and guidance, which have been instrumental in shaping the future of our students. To our superintendents, past and present, your visionary leadership prioritizes inclusivity and equity, fostering belongingness to all. You've worked tirelessly and with dedication through administrative meetings and school and classroom visits, ensuring every student, faculty, and staff feels valued and supported. Your impact will resonate long into the future. I'm deeply grateful for your guidance and support. To our parents, guardians, and foster families, your trust and support are the foundation of our success as educators. By entrusting us with the care and education of your children, you demonstrate a profound commitment to their future. We are deeply grateful for your partnership, and I know our faculty will continue the hard work to provide every child with a nurturing and inclusive learning environment. Your involvement in our school community is invaluable and greatly appreciated. To my incredible office team, Jeannie and Trisha, Lynn, Candace, and Cheryl. Each day, you bring genuine care and empathy to everything you do. Your dedication and hard work have supported our faculty, staff, administrators, families, and me. You always go the extra mile to ensure everyone feels supported and valued, and I appreciate your contributions. Thank you for being the heart of our team and all the little things that you do that make such a big difference. Your hard work and kindness don't go unnoticed, and they are deeply appreciated. I leave you tonight with this. In 2014, the words of the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate at 17, Malala Yousafzai, imparted profound wisdom on a global scale. She said, quote, "Let us remember, one book, one pen, one child, and one teacher can change the world," end quote. As we navigate the challenges of our era, let's hold onto the belief that education remains a beacon of hope, capable of transforming lives and shaping a better future for all. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to the students of Tewksbury and for inviting me to be part of this incredible journey. Thank you.
You know what, Rick, why don't you stay right up there, because there's a gift for you from the committee, and I think the committee would like to come out and take a photo.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Why don't you stand now? It's an awkward, it is awkward.
Good timing.
I know. Hi, how are you? You made it. Yes. Thank you. Of course.
So you tell us when. Thank you.
Pictures all up. Like there's a gallery of all these pictures somewhere.
They're
Somewhere. They're in the
supposed to
owl.
go on the website, that's right.
Okay, so thank you. And did I see Ronnie? Oh, yes.
Hi.
There you are.
She snuck in.
Rania,
I know.
congratulations on your track. I understand you're coming straight from track.
Thank you.
So, please, if you want to
Okay.
get ready, we're ready for you.
So I just have a brief report because I'm mid-track meet right now.
But some club updates I have include that Model UN had their first competition this weekend at the Inn and Conference Center at UMass Lowell. NHS had their inductions, which I mentioned in the last report, along with elections. Robotics had won the state competition, earning the title as New England's first. Student Council had attended the NEMAS conference yesterday at the North Reading High School. Also, we had elections for new e-board last Thursday, also for Student Council. Some sports updates I have include that spring sports have now started, with the track team having our first meet of the season today, and baseball having their home opener today as well. Lacrosse has also had a game tonight as well, and games have been going on for a minute for lacrosse. Some miscellaneous updates I have include that there was a resume writing workshop today, last block in LGI 2, where students learned how to write their college resumes and began to create them. There have been several college tours offered by Guidance, and also offered, there will be a college fair this Friday. Junior prom will be held in Salisbury tomorrow, and on Monday we began the stamp testing for French and Spanish 4 along with the AP language classes. Senior project began this week as well, with the last day of many seniors being Friday. And lastly, we got out of school 1 hour early on Monday, April 8th, to observe the solar eclipse, which we observed from our sports, and we all had a really good time during it. So that's all. Thank you.
That's great. Any questions or comments from the committee?
No, that was great. Thank you.
Good luck in track
you.
meet.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm like still out of breath. I just finished my race.
A nice April break.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to take out of order 18A from new business, the recommendation of the superintendent to appoint the assistant superintendent of schools.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, so a motion by Mrs. Biagioni Smith, a second by Mr. Russo, to move item 18A from new business to current moment. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so Mrs. Terry Regan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members of the committee, this new item of business will require a vote of the committee. I'd like to share my recommendation to you and to the public for our next Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Ms. Nancy Milligan. Nancy is in our audience. Let me first, though, share our process in selecting Ms. Milligan as Assistant Superintendent and a little bit about her past in education as well. First of all, with the process, we posted the position back in February. A key preference for the applicants was current and relevant experience in the role of a Massachusetts district-level administrator with experiences related to the roles and responsibilities of an assistant superintendent for several years. I was looking for someone, quite honestly, who could step right in and take on all the associated roles that a Massachusetts assistant superintendent of schools would need the experience with. I can tell you that we had several applicants, but chose only those applicants meeting those preferences I described. From that short list, we were able to interview 4 highly qualified applicants. For those interviews, I convened a first-round interview team of 13 varied stakeholders that included 2 district administrators, 2 school administrators, 3 teachers, 3 parents, including a CPAC parent, a school committee representative, it was Ms. Anderson, and a high school student and myself. The team unanimously agreed to move forward 2 of the finalists onto the second round of interviews. In that second round finalist interviews, there were members of my inner cabinet, the assistant director of special education, the business manager, also the chair of the school committee, and myself. And this second round of interview committee unanimously voted to move Ms. Milligan forward as my recommendation to you tonight as Assistant Superintendent of Schools. Let me tell you a little bit about Nancy Milligan. Nancy Milligan's experience as an Assistant Superintendent and her philosophy of education for best teaching and learning practices for all truly aligns with the needs of the Tewksbury Public Schools. She has currently served as an Assistant Superintendent for the past 10 years. 8 years have been in Massachusetts with the Merrimack Valley and North Middlesex, and the past 2 school years in Windham, New Hampshire, her own hometown. Nancy wants to bring back her expertise and core values back to Massachusetts, back to the Merrimack Valley. Nancy brings sound practice and expertise in reading instruction, Title I and other grant management, a passion for inclusive practice, curriculum development, and so much more. She has led many Merrimack Valley Assistant Superintendent group initiatives. Some are going to ring a bell to you, including the cross-district curriculum planning and mapping in math, science, and history that include many of our own Tewksbury Public School educators. She co-led and co-founded a regional teacher-led and teacher-focused professional development initiative through NPEN. I can tell you that many of our own Tewksbury Public School curriculum leaders and principals already have a productive working relationship with Nancy. I know she'll serve us well. It's simply an honor that we can have an assistant superintendent of this caliber joining our team. In Nancy's own words, a leader strives to hire members onto their team that's smarter than them and then get out of their way. For that reason and all the reasons I shared, I wholeheartedly recommend Miss Nancy Milligan as our next Assistant Superintendent of Schools for July 1st, 2024. Madam Chair, my recommendation for Ms. Nancy Milligan as Tewksbury Public Schools Assistant Superintendent will require a vote of the committee.
Okay, thank you. And welcome for being, thank you for being with us here today. It was been a pleasure to meet you. Is there any questions, comments from the committee?
I mean, the only comment I would just say, Ms. Regan, is thank you for the thorough process. You know, I know that it's not easy to see, you know, change. Sometimes that can be hard. And so I appreciate you being flexible and adaptable and really trying to work through that process over the last several months. And, you know, especially when, you know, there's not just that change in the district, right? There's other changes ongoing and you're constantly moving at 100 miles an hour with some of those. So thank you for spearheading that process and finding Ms. Milligan and bringing her to Tewksbury. So I know I will fully endorse this, but I appreciate the efforts.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Moncada.
Well, I was a part of the
Yes, you
the
were.
interview team, so we were very impressed. So it's great to hear that you are our prospective, you know, assistant. So it's great. So congratulations. Look forward to working with you. As I mentioned earlier, I started tonight, so you're starting as well. So we're in this together, whether you like it or not.
Ms. B. Joyce Smith.
I think my colleagues have covered it. It'll be a pleasure to get to know you and work with you over the next several years. That's about it. Yeah, I think everything's been said.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I echo what Rich is saying. I think change is, it's hard. So, but it's exciting and it's a lot to look forward to. So, a lot of mixed emotions. So I appreciate, again, like Rich says, how thorough you were in this search in a short amount of time with a very targeted a goal that it looks like you're able to meet. So I'm excited. I'm happy to entertain a motion if anybody's so willing.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve appoint the Assistant Superintendent of Schools via a 3-year contract.
No, second.
Okay. So we have a motion by Mr. Russo, a second by Mrs. Biagioni Smith to approve the superintendent's recommendation for appointment for Assistant Superintendent as Nancy Milligan. Mr. Moncada, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
Mrs. Biagioni Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well for unanimous vote. So, you know, we'll welcome you to Tewksbury.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for that unanimous vote. I look forward with working with Mrs. McDermott to collaborate and onboard over these next few months, and I look forward for starting July 1 and get the ground running. So much appreciated. I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
Okay, next, we have a presentation with TMHS Student Exchange Program. This is Terry Regan.
I think Ms. McDermott will lead this one.
Yes, Madam Chair. So we are seeking your approval to move forward with getting an exchange program up and running at TMHS. So I'd like to introduce our Director of Student and Family Support, Karen Baker O'Brien, and our world language teachers, Bailey Mahoney and Grassa Dudley, who are here to give you some of the specifics.
Thank you for being with us.
Hello.
Okay.
Okay, so we have put together the opportunity for an exchange program. So this goes above and beyond our current international travel program. And Ms. Dudley and I are very excited about this, and we hope that we can offer this to our students. The company we're looking at is the same company we're going through for our Canada 2025 trip. We've traveled with them before. Chelmsford uses them for their exchange program, and I believe Wilmington does as well. They are very reputable and are highly qualified for this.
One thing about them is we were on our second trip to Canada when the pandemic started, and we had absolutely no problem with all the families receiving the money back. So it was really reliable, the whole process, which makes us feel good about going with them. The reason for the exchange program and the difference with the international travel, the main thing is we are talking about a small group of students, families, that will accept students into their home, and then they will then be received in Spain in the springtime. The affordable part is the main thing, right? Right now, we have seen that our students are just not able to go on the international trips. The cost has become too difficult. This way, the cost is going to be a little bit more, because you're not staying in a hotel. But it will be good because it's going to involve everybody. Not everybody's going to be able to go to Spain, but the students from Spain are going to be here. You make the point of saying, I'm going to become friends with that kid. And there will be enough activities that we will be able then to have this feeling that we have our students connecting in a different scenario, not just, it's the whole experiencing learning rather than just book learning.
And it does form long-term partnerships. I can say from experience, my first international travel was an exchange program at my high school my senior year. And I spent 2 weeks with a German student living in my house in the middle of Kansas, and then I got to spend 2 weeks in Germany. I think I won out on that deal. But I still talk to the students I met there, not just the family I stayed with, but still regularly speak with some of my German friends. And I know the high school I went to still does this program. It is a continual program. They've run it every year, and it's just been really beneficial for the school.
Again, we are talking about our kids becoming more global citizens, right? This will become part also of our global certificate for our students. The students that participate here will be able to check mark that I came out of my little box. Not just the classes that you take, but actually learning by experience, by getting connected to somebody.
We hope this program would be different than our international trips in that this would be focused specifically within the World Language Department. We would be the ones spearheading it because it ties into our curriculum. Because not only are they getting the cultural experience, but they're getting the language acquisition piece. Immersion is one of the best ways to learn a language, and our students would really benefit from that.
Time frame. So we would be receiving the students in the fall, and we would ideally going during February vacation, having April as a backup. Spring is super busy for us. April is way too close to AP exams. February, there has a little bit of a time thing in terms of weather, but also April, you could go into Holy Week there. So there are too many things for us to prefer February.
We'd be heading to southern Spain. That's where Malaga is located, with potential visits up to Granada, Mijas, and Sevilla. We have been to all of those cities before on international trips. They're wonderful.
Yes.
We love them.
And the great part is like when we were in Spain, kids love Madrid and everything else, but that's, especially Mijas, we are talking about a village up in the mountains where the kids can just go. And the people are not going to speak English to them. They have to be able to do their money transaction and everything. So it's really the best spot for them to experience the places.
And again, this would be significantly smaller than some of our international trips. We're looking 10 to 15 students from Spain coming here, plus chaperones, and then kind of the same heading over there, 10 to 15 students plus the chaperones.
Well, what we are seeking today is your approval for the program. When doing research, the schools around us all had very similar policies to what we have. Pretty much is the international travel policy that we would keep up, with the same parameters.
So same things, Corey checks, background checks. We would make sure we follow all the policies we follow for the international and domestic trips.
For the whole hosting families, and here we are going to need help from the back. You know, we really, I think getting the parents, the families that are already involved in our district to help us connect with the families. Who are the right families that would be welcoming these students and a couple of teachers as well, to really make a good experience for everybody here. You have to provide the meals, you are going to be driving them to places, so they have to commit themselves to all of these things. But they're not on their own. Like, our idea is fall, we are all going to go apple picking. Then we can easily have apple pie making at home and bring it on Monday, and then Andy is going to sample all these apple pies and decide who's made the best. But you know what I mean? Like, we can plan the things. The families are not going to be alone to do it. We can do, you know, soccer game. We can have them come to a football game, always together. That way we make it a very good experience for everybody. Because for our family receiving them, I would imagine that would be like, what do I do with the kid? We can help.
Right. I remember one of the things that the German students loved the most was coming to a Friday night football game, something they'd never experienced before, and they had an absolute blast.
And they see it on movies all the time. So there.
One thing we would ask to probably tie into this would be have those parents attend the social hosting night that our juniors and seniors have to go to for junior prom and senior week, just to make sure those guidelines are being followed as well. On trip guidelines, same thing as when we travel for international, just adding in the fact that they shouldn't just be on their phones the entire time. They should get to know the family they're staying with, be respectful and courteous to host families. Cell phone culture is very different in Europe than it is here, so that is something we would have to talk to them about. But to encourage them to participate in the school and the activities, because they would be going to classes with these students in Spain, so they'd be attending school there for the majority of the time as well. And trying new foods and learning about the culture. So we want them to go in with an open mind. We know the kids are going to be homesick. It happens. But encouraging them to kind of step out of their comfort zone a little bit with this. So our first step is your approval. And then after that, we will follow up with the company. There's a school profile form we fill out, and we find a compatible school that will work with us. And then Ms. Dudley and I will spend a lot of time working through the company to talk with the partner teacher and organizing the events and the excursions and the hosting details and all of that.
Basically, what we try to do too is, okay, a student comes and that student likes robotics. We're going to make sure that that kid doesn't have to be with his host brother. It can be with any other student. We will experience some of those after-school robotics things. Whatever class they like, they will be able, they're not going to be sitting in our classes. They are going to be experiencing DMHS. Same thing will happen to our students when they go there. We want them to, you like art, so go sit in the art class and see how that class goes. But you're going to be doing all of that in Spanish.
I got to do a gymnastics class in Germany, so that was fun. So different things like that. So yeah, I guess really where we're at then is approval. Thank you very much.
Anything else to add?
No, I just want to say that Ms. Regan and Mrs. McDermott came with this idea in December. In a very short period of time, these two ladies stepped it up, researched, put this together. It is remarkable. They've done such an amazing job trying to get this put together for you and for approval. So I thank them for all their efforts.
We delegated to our best people, clearly.
Right. Enthusiastic. I love it. Any questions, comments from the committee?
Yeah.
Mr. Moncada?
When was the last time we had a program like this, or was it before COVID? Well before COVID?
Way.
Yeah.
It was one when I was in high school.
Okay, so it's been a long time.
I would say
Trying not to reference that.
I would say the early 2000s, maybe the,
Say not since I've been here, and I've been here since
I
2016.
think Erin Murphy, when she was a student.
yeah, it was,
Back then.
let's just say a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah,
And
okay.
then after 9/11, there were no international travel until 2011
Yeah,
happened. And
Yeah.
it was our first one going to Puerto Rico.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And there are do we have like people like lined up, like ready? There's like a list of people that are like, hey, we want to do this? Like,
Not yet.
Okay.
We need the approval first.
Sure.
but I have mentioned the idea to some of my sophomores, and they're very interested.
Okay. And do you feel that there will be such a great like interest that you might have to like not be able to approve certain people, or do you think anyone that's interested will likely be involved?
I think what we talked about originally was opening it up for this first row around juniors and seniors with the priority, and then have the freshmen and sophomores kind of wait until they get a chance. That's at least kind of fit with Andy and trying to make sure we have the maturity level to go over
Sure.
as well.
Also, the language more advanced.
Yeah.
Because they're able to, it would be better for them. If you're taking a younger kid, we don't have a middle school program, so they're really starting in ninth grade. It's just not going to be as beneficial as if they have a little bit more under their belt.
Okay. Thank you. I'm all set. Thank you.
And I think the other thing to think about too is we go and try to build more pathways for students. The importance of language in all of the pathways, whether you're going into business or not, but building that global competency pathway is something that has been a mission of the World Language Department, and this is just going to take it up to that next level for them.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Mr. Russo?
So I can't say enough good things about the continued opportunities that the DLT, Mrs. Mahoney, thank you so much, Ms. Baker O'Brien, Ms. Regan, Ms. McDermott, the opportunities that you guys keep bringing to students from where I'm sitting is just absolutely phenomenal. I feel like every time we meet once a month, and every time there's a new opportunity that we're trying to, or we're looking into, or that we're trying to bring. So this is fantastic. I guess just a couple questions from my perspective. So you already answered a question about in terms of what grades it would be open to. How are you going to, whether it's for students that are coming here or for our students that are going there, what's the matching process like? I'm just thinking of like trying to match roommates up in a college dorm, right? Is it similar in terms of that process?
I have something similar happening. With the international club, we have kids who are actually now matching up to teach English to kids in Ukraine. And the way it is they answer our profile questions, like sports, what they like. And it even says, if you want to be talking to just boys, girls, doesn't matter what is the age is going to have to be high school, 9.
Yeah.
And then based on that, they have been paired up, and actually Hazel does that. And it works pretty well, because then the kids have similar things that they will talk about. If you like sports, I like sports, it may be a different sport, but at least we like sports. And from there, but I think the most difficult part for us, for the beginning, is going to be to get the families to not feel intimidated by the idea of receiving somebody and having that person in their house for that period of time.
Right. Okay, and then I guess just to follow up, so in terms of Corey checks, so I guess how does that get policed a little bit in the sense of we're Corey checking parents, I'm assuming, that are over there, and then I'm assuming we're also Corey checking our families, our parents that are hosting students, or how is that? I mean, we're sending students to somebody's house.
I would for sure say we would have to Corey check the families that are hosting.
Our families, you mean.
Our families that are hosting.
Yeah.
That is a safety concern. We do that for every.
Yeah, field trip or, yeah.
I'm not sure about over there. That would be a question for the forum advisor on how those families, I'm sure they have their own version of the Corey check.
Right, and it's not even, I mean, when you're over there for 2 weeks, I mean, it's not just the family going through that house, right? I mean, there could be anybody. I mean, and so, again, I'm not suggesting that, I'm just trying to understand that process a little bit, just from a safety perspective. And then I know, Ms. Mahoney, you also mentioned like the social host night that I know the juniors and seniors do. So I know that happens around the springtime, ahead of prom season and all that stuff. So are we looking at doing something separate, or are we looking at piggybacking with that, or?
I would hope to piggyback, because we're not going to be able to get this off the ground this year, but we could get it set up to where the parents who are interested for the following school year would attend next
Right.
year's social hosting night. Just make it easier on ourselves.
Okay, and then just last, oh,
Mr.
sorry, go
Russo,
ahead.
we should also, if we can check in with the company
Yes.
on how they do those security checks with
Yeah.
Absolutely.
the Spanish families. Yeah,
I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure there is. I'm sure something exists.
I am too, but for just to answer your question,
Yeah.
we can bring that back.
I appreciate that. And then just the last thing, so I noticed in the packet of information that you provided, Spain obviously is first, and maybe France at some point down the road.
Yes.
I was going to say, because we're going to push everybody towards learning Spanish and not learning French or Latin.
No,
All right.
yeah,
Fair
add
enough.
in languages as we go. Yeah.
All right, excellent. All right, thank you very much.
It's easier to start with Spanish because it is the one that we have more students.
Yeah, understood. All right, thank you.
Okay. Mrs. Pietro-Smith.
I echo what Mr. Russo said. Thank you so much for bringing this to these students. I didn't get this opportunity when I was in school, so this is, I'm going to go home and tell my kids. But, and you already answered a couple of my questions with them regarding the language. And is this something that, if approved, could be promoted to our WIN students? This is such an incredible opportunity. I think some of those eighth graders, as they're deciding what language they're speaking or learning or what they're doing.
They don't have the language to be there.
No, just to share it with them now so that they know it's something to look forward to.
We do
This
those
is such
step up.
A goal.
Have them to hold the eighth graders here.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Already-
So, yes, if it's something that, if approved, that we can maybe bring on a road show with them.
Absolutely. I probably bombard John with a few too many emails about promoting trips, so I'll just add this to my list.
Like from the eighth grade night, when we went to talk about Sora, we used to try to get them to come here for the language. We can add that there too.
Yeah, and we'll make promotional posters like we have for the other programs and make sure that when the school year starts, that is also out there to kind of make sure we pique some interest of students.
Great. What is, and this is maybe a silly question, what is the school year in Spain? So ours is September to June, so where would that?
It's longer summer than ours. So
Yeah.
they come here at the end of their summer too, but their summer goes a little further.
Yeah.
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 It's
curious
good that
where
we
we'll
have
fall in there.
A month to prepare to receive them, because we start earlier than they do.
Okay.
So should work okay.
Yeah, they'll
And I
start.
think the fall is the best time for us to receive.
Here, yeah, oh, absolutely. No one wants to be in the snow.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the families, obviously, students are speaking languages, they're learning things at home. I mean, in school that maybe they don't do at home. How, and this is, say I wanted to host a family, I don't speak a foreign language, my student speaks a language. What's the way that you can get the families to feel more comfortable, I guess, with that? I know Google Translate and,
The students that are coming here, they're learning English.
yeah,
So it will be the same thing as our kids go here.
yeah,
They will be able to communicate in English.
Yeah, and I can speak from experience with that, like going to Germany and the family I stayed with, the daughters both spoke, I think, 3 languages at that point, English, Spanish, and German, so that was good for me. And the parents spoke some English, not to the extent that their daughters, but it wasn't an issue at all for us. We made it work. It was great. I got to practice my German that I don't remember now, but I know they got to practice their English as well. So it was a really interesting and fun kind of bonding experience for all of us. And I know the students are going to get out of it what they put in, and that's the same for their students coming here. They also start English in elementary school in Spain, so they've definitely had a lot more years at it and lots more practice. So.
yeah. Thank you for answering the questions. Awesome, yeah.
So I echo all the excitement in terms of being so grateful for the work that you're doing. I do know this was a short period of time and a lot of work to be done. So I do see this as kind of more preliminary steps of, that that if we agree to sign off, which I do support, you getting started with this. So, hopefully we'll hear back on some security stuff, some safety issues, some cost, I think would be helpful to, understand that a little bit. And then just if there's any ways that our I know you have your foreign language packs and things like that, of offsetting that cost if those exist, because I think there's a lot of students that would benefit from some of the stuff that just, it's not accessible to them. So is there some way to help make that accessible? And I think that's really it. I think the only last plug I have, I'm excited to hear you say you're looking forward to expanding the program, so it would include these other languages. But then also, I know I've pitched this before, kind of to maybe individually, but there are families super interested in long-term hosting as opposed to an exchange program. This is super exciting because it's a benefit for our students. It helps with the immersion, it helps with so many things, and just the experience is invaluable to our students. But if that could kind of be in your thoughts, that there are families out there with that strong interest, I think they'd appreciate that too. So I got to put that plug out there. But yeah, I'm excited, and I'm really happy to give my approval, but I'm open to entertaining a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve moving forward with the research on this and the next steps, moving to step 2 of this initiative. I don't know, like trying to figure out what the best of.
Yeah.
Next steps.
Yeah, next steps. Yeah. Hopefully you can come back in a meeting or two and, or a few and share.
Or even through Mrs. Terry Regan, I'd be fine with
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah,
Or
great.
Mrs. McDermott.
Yeah, so a motion to approve the committee to move forward with this program. Fixing my,
Yeah, no, I was going to second it, but it's just, is this something we're trying to introduce for next school year?
I think so.
At this point, it would be too late to connect with that school, so it'd be for the following, for
So the-
25, 26.
25, 26, thank you. Sorry, my ears were messed up, thank you. Okay, so I'll second that as well, with the caveat that, there's going to be some follow-up that comes back to the committee and go from there. Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for your presentation. I don't even know that really needed a vote, but I think
Yeah.
there's some formality there in
Yeah.
acknowledging that we're in agreement.
Any and all follow-up details will be following the policy as well, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
Everyone's favorite topic.
next, Madam Chair, if you remember at the March meeting, I reminded you all of the timeline and administrative school council goals for addressing the impact of cell phone use amongst our students. With us tonight is Principal John Ware of the Wynn Middle School and members.
Kerry Tuttle.
And
school
Mayor,
council.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Kerry Tuttle. Kerry
Member
Tuttle.
of your school council.
Correct.
And they have a very brief presentation, a follow-up on the pilot that the Wynn will be implementing after April vacation.
Awesome. Thank you guys for being here, and thank you for your patience, as we've had kind of a full night so far. So
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Superintendent, and welcome, Mr. Moncada.
Thank you.
So this sort of grew out of last summer. We'd been doing some research regarding the impact of social media on students, and it has obviously positive and we know now some negative effects. And so we were looking as a school council and as a school, how we can help students to disconnect from social media, constant reliance on their phones throughout the school day. And we were fortunate to be able to come across a grant that the state was offering. Dr. Bastieri looked into the grant for us, and we were able to secure funds to purchase this, what's called a Yonder Pouch package, which some of you may have seen something similar to it when you've gone to a show, a concert. They often use these now to keep people's attention on the shows and to keep people from filming and such. So we were able to purchase this, and we're looking forward to piloting it starting in April, the week we get back from vacation. Overall, our school use of phones, our student use of phones they're very responsible. And I would say our students, for the most part overall, are responsible with their phones throughout the school day. But as you can see, this is just some of the research that's been done, and we'll be sharing some of this as well with our parents. We'll be having a parent night and some literature going home to them tomorrow, that overall, there's constant messaging to students. They're constantly feeling connected to their phones. And even the presence of the phone in their, if it's on or in their presence close to them and available to them, is also a very distracting element that can take away from their focus on school. You can see some of the statistics right there on the slide. Again, Surgeon General has recommended too that has recognized that there's a profound risk of harm to students based on again, this is kind of, this is almost like children are growing up with this, and we're starting to find out the effects of some of their connections to social media. And they have found positive correlations between social media, poor sleep, quality anxiety, and depression. And that the part of the bottom of the slide also indicates that smartphones, just by being present in front of the student, can be very distracting for them throughout the school day. Using something like this product, the schools that have used it and programs that have used it have seen increase in student engagement, increases in positive student behavior, and positive changes in academic performance. And also talks a little bit at the bottom of the slide about the idea that it can lead to a safer school as well. Our emergency protocols that we develop with the police, fire, our district security team do not involve the use of student cell phones. It's expected that the adults are the ones to communicate out the critical information to those who need to know it. So basically how it works, I have an example here. This is an example of the pouch. And basically students can leave it open overnight. When they would come into school, they'll basically put their phone or anything internet connected, if they have Bluetooth earbuds or a smartwatch, they would place that in to the pouch, and then it just clips closed. They push a button, it stays closed, and they can't open it. And at the end of the day, there's a magnet that they can basically go up to on their way out, and just they hit the magnet with it, it pops open, they take their phone out, and it's theirs again. They keep the pouch on them during the school day, so they're always in possession of their phone, but it should be off, and it's locked away. And they know that everyone's on the same playing field, sort of levels the playing field for all the students. So you have a little diagram here of what it would look like at arrival. And again, the magnets aren't necessary to lock the phone. And they're only necessary if the student happened to close it overnight. They'll have access to magnets on the way in. They can open it to put their phone in. We're looking at doing that in homeroom. Those put them out, hold up their phone, turn them off, and put them in the pouch and secure it in homeroom. So we're going to be sending information home to families tomorrow. We're having student assemblies on Thursday to explain the process to them. We're going to distribute the pouches the Monday after April vacation, and then we'll have parent-guardian question and answer session Monday, April 22nd at 7 o'clock to answer any questions that they may have regarding how the program is going to work. There is a disciplinary process as well that we've put together that's very reflective of how we currently deal with phones. For instance, if a student doesn't have the pouch or is not using the pouch appropriately, we would ask that student to bring the phone to the office, and we just store it in the office. At the end of the day, they could pick it up. Repeated violations would turn into things like a parent meeting, possible detention, and that kind of. You have a copy of the policy, not the policy, but the discipline process that we have presented for that.
Okay.
So that's pretty much of it in a nutshell, and I'm sure you have plenty of questions. And
Any questions? Okay, Johnny Smith. Let's start
How
here.
about a few? So you said the pouches were purchased,
yes, there were.
so we own the pouches, and this is, the program itself is the pilot, so the pouches stay with the school?
The pouches will stay with the school. We're going to number them, so each student will be assigned a number pouch. And so at the end of the school year, we'll collect them back. They have a shelf life of about 3 or 4 years with normal use.
Okay. How many magnets are there to do this unlocking? I'm thinking of
I believe
end
we
of
have,
the day.
we have, I think, 6 magnets that mount and a couple of handheld magnets that teachers can hold. They said that's plenty for a school of our size. They put them in bigger schools, and they say that the process works very quickly. In fact, the students' dismissals sometimes go a lot quicker.
Yeah, they want their phone.
More quickly, because the students want to get to those magnets. And where they're positioned, they're positioned in areas where they'll have access. We're going to put one in the cafeteria, so in the morning breakfast line, if they happen to lock it overnight or they want to keep the pin safe and lock it that way, they can unlock it in the cafeteria. It is a really quick process. It's just boom, and it's unlocked. We'll have 2 probably in the main lobby. We're finalizing where we're putting them, probably a couple in the side entrance corridors. And one probably across from the library. That's what we're looking at.
And then, so if a kid has to go to the bathroom, they take their little pouch with them, and they happen to walk by the librry where the magnet is, and there's unlocking, yeah.
It's a good
I'm
question.
I'm just thinking.
Yeah, no,
like
you're
a
getting all the good
seventh
questions.
grade
So, and I'm not letting you ask the whole question, but I don't mean to jump ahead. But the idea is the magnet unscrews from the base.
Uh-huh.
So after the morning arrival, we unscrew the magnet and store it.
Okay. And then, so my only last thing, and it's not really a question, it's more of a observation. I have a student at the school. I've kind of talked to her about this coming through. I think that there is going to be a significant impact on their emotional
Anxiety.
state when they find out this. They're going to be angry. So what is going to be done to really, it's some of these kids, this is an addiction for them, the cell phone, having it.
Absolutely.
They're withdrawing from this thing that they're attached to. So what's the process going to be for these kids that are probably going to be pretty upset that
Yeah, I
taking
think,
their phone.
I mean, part of it, we will stress to the parents that, I mean, the vacation week would be a good week for them to start maybe seeing if they could put their phone away for a few hours at home and maybe disconnect at home from the phone. We're going to be talking to the students on Friday about that, working with guidance counselors if there's issues around that. We do recognize that. I think overall, the students, we don't see them using the phones all that often in school. I think sometimes they may go to the bathroom and do some quick texts in the bathroom, that kind of thing. But overall, we're not seeing a lot of it in the classroom. Teachers are able to sort of access. So they're not really able to access their phones too often during the school day. But I think it's just the thought of not being able to access it, and I agree with that. That's for them, it's going to be something that they always think they can go to, and that's kind of what the research points out, that all day long they're kind of thinking about what's the next thing they're going to look at. But I take that seriously, and I think we'll talk with our guidance counselors and so on how to work with students around that. You know, obviously, we're going to be open if a student's feeling anxious, they would be able to get a pass and go to guidance and kind of talk it out, and you know, we'll sort of gauge those things as they happen, I think.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Russo.
Actually, Ms. P. Joni Smith covered a couple of my questions. I just have one. Are we doing any handbook updates in relation to this specifically, or are we waiting till?
I have something in my updates about that.
Okay, covered. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Mr. Makata.
Yeah, Ms. B. Joni Smith stole some of my questions. On dismissal, if you learn that it's not going as fast as you think it is, I mean, there's an opportunity to get other other devices to help speed it along. That's a possibility.
Yes, we could purchase more magnets. They're not that cost.
Okay.
They're not that cost heavy. And also, we will practice the first week, you know, because we won't know quite how quickly it will go. So
Right.
we'll probably dismiss a few minutes, you know, start the dismissal process earlier, just to start getting them out the doors.
Okay, and then like in the fall, when kids coming from, you know, the Ryan, this will be talked about, like maybe like a, you know, whatever, I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but they'll know it's coming when they get there, and they'll
Absolutely,
be
yes,
familiar
that'll be
with it
part of our
before they walk in the
orientation.
door. Yeah,
That'll be
okay.
part of our orientation. We're going to gauge how this goes, you know, for the rest of the year, too.
Right.
As we make decisions going forward.
Okay, great.
I just have two questions. One, I recently attended the Genius Hour, which is a plug for that. It was fantastic. But there were some students who did some really innovative, cool things using their phones. And the first thing I thought was, how would they have done this if you know, had this been implemented already? Most of it was filming, splicing of video, things like that. And then they were showing video that was pretty impressive.
Yep.
How would you handle that moving forward if a student wanted to go in that direction with that project? Would they be allowed to unlock their phones, or?
I think that would be just, you know, there would be a conversation with the teacher at their discretion. I mean, if there's something specific that they don't have any other tool to use, and it's clearly they're using it just for that, there may be an opportunity there where, you know, we do provide the teacher an opportunity with a handheld unlock. It would depend. I would think we'd have to look at each case. But we wouldn't want to deprive a student of some creative outlet that if they're using it just for that assignment, just to do something, we'd have to look. We'd also look at other options. You know, are there other ways they could film it? Are there other, you know, can they do it with their tablet or their, you know, is there something else the teacher could provide?
Okay. I think that was just one of my concerns after leaving there. I thought, I mean, I completely support this initiative and I support the pilot, but I want to be sure that that you're not losing sight of the benefit that technology can have educationally as well. So that students will use it appropriately.
Sure.
But I understand the purpose of this and how it's very different, so. And then I want to thank you for being here from the student council, the school council, and all of your team for working on this, because, you know, if people watching this don't understand, the school council is made up of, you know, could you
Teachers.
speak a bit about
Yeah.
the composition of your group?
Yeah, we have teachers and parents on our school council. So, yeah, and Mrs. Tuttle's one of our parent members.
Yeah, so I think it's helpful for people to know that this wasn't a unilateral decision by anybody, that you actually did work with parents that have students at the schools, and to really weigh in on this. So thank you, I appreciate that. My only other question is, towards the end of the year, how are you going to evaluate if it's working? Like, are you going to speak with students, do some sort of survey, talk to families? What's the
Yeah,
judgment on
I
that?
think surveys would be very helpful. I also think, we can look at things like bathroom logs, how often students use the bathroom. And I mean, I think in teacher feedback, teacher surveys, I think some of the impact, I mean, if some of this research as it shows, is that it can lead to depression and anxiety and poor sleep for students, that might not be something we can find out right away. Maybe through surveys we could ask them how they're feeling currently, if it seems to have impacted them. But I think some of this might be a little more long-term as well, as far as like, as a long-term, every day for that many hours, I don't have to really think about my phone. How is that going to help?
Okay, because as I say, I do support what you're doing at the school. Is Yonder Pouch is the right way to go about it? Is there some other way? I don't know. But I applaud you for taking the initiative to find a way to get things started. So good luck.
Thank you. And it is a pilot. And I think that's part of it too, is like looking at what might make sense in the future. Is this the answer? Maybe, maybe not. I think we have to evaluate that.
Okay.
Madam Chair, can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Or maybe you have the answer to this, I'm sure you do. So I'm assuming this first week or so is going to be, forgot mine, sorry, like for the whole, couple of days. You're going to have how many cell phones in the office at that point? What is the phase-in approach to this?
Well, the recommendation by the company is to really, you got to start strong first couple of days. You got to let them know you're taking it seriously.
Okay.
And that everyone is expected that. And even if a student doesn't have a phone, they're required to have a pouch, because we're not sure when they may get a phone. They may get one for their birthday tomorrow. So, it's important that they have a pouch every day. And if they say they don't have their phone, I mean, there's going to be students who, we were all there once. So, they say that becomes pretty obvious who's not, doing what they need to do. And usually conversations help to fix that. So.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. We're not voting. This was just kind of a informational purposes only. So,
Very good. Thank you very
any
much.
feedback that you want to share through, our administrative team, that would be great to hear.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Citizens Forum. Is there anybody here to speak in Citizens Forum? Seeing no one, move on to the approval of minutes. So prior to our executive session, we did have our reorganization. Mr. Moncada is our newly elected clerk. Congratulations. And I will hand this over to you for the approval of minutes.
Sure. So as clerk, I am bringing forth for approval the minutes of the March 13th, 2024 meeting.
I'll second that.
So I would ask a motion, I would imagine, Mr. Russo, would you like to motion?
Yeah. I was wondering why we were doing what we were doing. Yes, I'll make the motion to approve the March 13th, 2024 minutes of our regularly scheduled meeting.
Yeah, I'll second Rich's motion.
Okay. So we have a motion by Mr. Russo, a second by Mrs. Biagioni-Smith. Mr. Moncada, are you voting on minutes?
I'm going to abstain.
Abstain. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So there are three yeses, one abstention, and one person that's not present. Okay, sorry, I made that awkward.
Yeah.
It's like the night of awkward weirdness. What are we doing?
Okay, and next we have the submission and payment of bills.
Now, do we take these together?
No, you would do
One
individuals.
individual,
You would do
okay.
One payment, roll call vote, second payment,
Okay.
roll call vote.
So I motion to approve and certify the payroll period ending March 14th, 2024 in the amount of $1,629,983.14.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Mr. Moncada, second by Mrs. Biagioni-Smith, to approve and certify the payroll period ending March 14th, 2024, in the amount of $1,629,983.14. Mr. Moncada, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
Mrs. Biagioni-Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well.
And I motion to approve and certify the payroll period ending March 28th, 2024 in the amount of $1,620,000, $242.39.
I'll second.
A motion by Mr. Moncada, second by Mrs. Biagioni-Smith, to approve and certify the payroll period ending March 28th, 2024, total amount of $1,620,000 $20,000, $242.39. Mr. Moncada, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Johnny Smith? Aye. And I vote aye as well. Thank you very much. And Mrs. Terry Regan, that would start us with the superintendent and staff reports, please.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, as a member of our policy subcommittee, we are looking at our homework policy for the district. Last year, Assistant Superintendent Lori McDermott and myself met with several students, grades 5 through 12. Since that time, pairing the policy with those visits, we have tasked our district directors, Mr. Stamp and Ms. Jananovich, to create a survey for students in grades 5 through 12, for their families, and for our teachers to give us their opinion on how we may adapt that policy. I just want to remind anybody who may be watching, the policy is live, the survey is live through this Friday, and we would truly appreciate everybody's input. We encourage you to fill out the survey appropriately so we can respond with updates to that policy. Last week, we saw some very unusual weather, some snow in April, some heavy wind, and certainly an astronomical history-making event, the solar eclipse. It was just amazing to get the feedback from our families and some pictures and hear the comments of our students and neighborhoods that got to enjoy that event. My favorite student quote was, "Wow, this is history. This is history." This was from one of our younger students, and I just want to say, I'm so glad we were able to give that little bit of time for our students to go home, because experiences like this far exceed lessons and experiences in the classroom. So a select board meeting update last night, myself and all of you attended the select board meeting so that we could request the resurrection of the School Facilities Study Committee in order to address the short-term and long-term needs of our schools. The board was appreciative of our proactive approach and is considering our request. The next steps are for the town manager, myself, and the business manager to sit down and look at the former mission of the committee and develop a more updated mission. I expect to have more information on that at our upcoming May meeting. I want to remind our TPS community that we have an upcoming deadline for both the Ginsburg Family Award for outstanding service to our schools and the Chrissy Palomino Outstanding Educator Award. Recommendations are due this Friday, April 12th. More information and that application is available on our district webpage. I also think it's appropriate, and this is where I was going with this, Mr. Russo, after the Wind cell phone impact presentation, to inform and acknowledge the efforts happening at all of our schools to both combat the impact on cell phone addiction and distraction throughout the school day for our students so they can focus on learning. The Tewksbury High School has implemented a very low-tech version and have supplied every single classroom with shoe trees. I see Ms. Mahoney in the background shaking her head. These are simple shoe tree holders. Students are to put their cell phone into the shoe tree and shut it off, and then they collect it on their way out of the class. There are other rules that go along with this implementation, and those rules and process will be printed into the handbook so we can have a more full, robust implementation next year. It's hard, but we do want our older students certainly navigating moderation and responsibility, but at the same time, we really need to just curtail that distraction so that they can learn in class. So our other school levels will be addressing the impact of cell phones as well in their handbook updates, as you'll see later in the school year. So as we say goodbye to Mr. Pelletier, I'm going very quickly, so stop me if I'm going too fast. I'm just noticing the time. As we say goodbye to Mr. Pelletier, I just want to remind you at the March school committee meeting, I informed you that the Assistant Director of Student Services and Special Education will be stepping up as the acting Director of Student Services and Special Ed for the remainder of the school year. Ms. Tharrett will serve as the stability and continuity the district needs and the special education department needs, and certainly our families need at the retirement of Mr. Pelletier. She assumes this role consistent with her role and responsibility as the assistant director and consistent with her license of special ed administrator of all levels. So I'll have more to share with you on the process of our filling of the special ed leadership roles at our May meeting. Finally, and this goes right into the wheelhouse you were talking about, Mr. Russo, improvements at our high school, opportunities for career and college. Finally, I'm so thrilled to share with you the expansion of our dual enrollment opportunities at Tewksbury Memorial High School. Mr. Moncada, we've talked a lot about dual enrollment. Basically, a student can take a course here at a high school in the safety of a high school and also be enrolled in a local college or university and receive bona fide college credits at the completion of that course, as well as have the course on their high school transcript. So that's where the dual enrollment piece comes in. You can see in your packet, we currently have 13 available dual enrollment courses through both Southern New Hampshire University and Middlesex Community College. You can see the course agenda there. These new offerings are being shared and updated with students at the Tewksbury Memorial High School in our district newsletter. I continue to share with you any additions to the offerings as we proceed throughout the school year. Bailey Mahoney, in fact, has one of those new offerings in the list. But I really want to shout out to the Tewksbury Memorial High School administrative team, Mr. Long, Ms. Dick, and Mr. O'Leary. Mary Jo Kelleher, you're going to hear her name as often as you probably hear Karen Baker O'Brien's name, for just their continued commitment to forward these programs and options for our students here at the high school. So with that, that concludes my updates.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, just one. With the partnership with Southern New Hampshire and some of the new dual enrollments that will be offered, this is for 24-25 school year.
Correct, for next school year.
The ones that were being offered this past year, 23-24, again, because SNU was brand new for Tewksbury High anyway. Will all those courses still continue for next year as well? And this is just a build on to that?
It's adding on to it. And if I hadn't said it before, and I probably didn't, I was going quickly, these are 3 bona fide college credits for the cost of $100.
Yeah.
That's amazing for
pretty good.
students and families.
All right, excellent. All I have.
Yeah. Mr. Moncada?
Yeah, well, that was the one thing, that just anything we can do to offset costs of college, right, is key, so it's great.
I just have one, and I know that we'll, reap the benefits of the survey for homework through the policy subcommittee. We're just wondering if there's a way yet, if you've considered a way to share the results of that survey. Aside from just updating the policy, I think there's probably a lot of families who would be interested in hearing what other people say.
No, I think that's very doable. We'll be looking at the survey results, I believe, over the break, or Monday when we come back from break, because our subcommittee meeting is on the 25th. So we can certainly get a summary, if not a printout.
And I think it should inform the entire committee, not just the subcommittee. I think, it's information that the subcommittee had asked for to help inform what part of the policy is super outdated, and what part of the policy, what direction it should go in. But I think once that comes to the full committee, if it helps inform the subcommittee, it should help inform the full committee. So that information would be public, because I think then it would go into our packet.
Then we can talk about that and decide if we put it in May 1st or May 22nd.
That's great. I think it's going to be great info once it's shared, so good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I think it might bring some good discussion.
Yeah.
Because I've been getting some feedback on it.
Well, you all have children, too, in
Yeah.
the system, so I hope you filled it out. Please do.
Is that all?
Yes.
My only thing, thank you so much, Mr. Libby. Thank you so much, Mrs. Terry Regan. I really do appreciate your attention to preparation going into last night's select board meeting. I think you answered a lot of their questions before they could even be asked. And as a committee that is looking to be as collaborative as we can be with the entire town, it was very meaningful that you went in so prepared with all the answers, because there's a lot of history in these buildings, and I think that's just, you barely scratched the surface last night, but I think you were ready for a lot deeper questions should they have come. So I appreciate all your efforts there. And for the purpose of time, I'll move on to Mrs. McDermott.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll try to go as quickly. Some quick updates, but we do have a lot of fabulous things happening around the district. You mentioned the Genius Hour at the Wynn. I think many of us were able to be there. Basically, the students on Team 8B actively participated in the third annual, I believe it's the third annual Genius Hour project. It was like truly extra special to see the learning experience for these students. They're given the freedom to select a topic that they're passionate about. They get to become researchers, innovators, experts. They're also given the freedom to collaborate in small groups or work individually, which I absolutely love. They create projects to showcase their learning to their peers, to their teachers, to families and members of the community. The superintendent and I were able to attend, and I know I saw many of you there as well. And you could really just see the sense of pride, ownership, enthusiasm the students had for those self-selected topics, and they really did become experts, and I walked away a little smarter from attending, which was pretty neat. So the projects were really phenomenal, really showcased student agency and that deep level of student engagement in their own learning that we're always talking about and looking for, so it was really nice to see. Can't thank the team enough, Mr. DePrima, Mr. Gagnon, Mr. Silverio, Mrs. Shao, Mr. Gillespie, Ms. Fortin, and Ms. Cote, hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody, for supporting their students through such a meaningful and worthwhile learning experience, and I know that they are also very proud of them. Sticking with the WIN theme, the WIN School students hosted what I think was their first annual multicultural night last Friday. Unfortunately, I was homesick and couldn't attend, but 18 different countries were showcased, and there was lots of authentic food, performances, dance, singing, instrumental performances. The event was well attended by students, families, and staff, and was really a wonderful way to celebrate the diversity in our community. So kudos to all of the students and staff involved in making that event such a success, and hopefully we will see it again, or you will see it again, and I will visit. We were also, the superintendent and I were also able to see Mrs. White in action at Center School, and I had heard a little bit here and there, Mrs. White. We've wondered, who is this Mrs. White? So we learned a little bit about Mrs. White. She's been visiting our schools for the past 4 years, North Street, Trahan, and now at CES, so clearly she's connected to Mr. Harding's team. She delivers high-quality, hands-on, exciting, and educational science activities for our students. She works with every class for about an hour, delivering collaborative and engaging lessons. Some of the lessons include wiggly worms, ramps, forces in motion, defying gravity, which is what the superintendent and I got to see. She's definitely a fan favorite with students and staff, and we want to thank the PAC and the Corning Grant for bringing her to TPS. We also have some exciting upcoming events. Peter Pan Jr. at Center Elementary School. They will be performing their version, and it will be actually held at the Wynn Middle School auditorium, so don't be confused. Center students performing at the Wynn, 7 p.m. on Thursday, April 25th, and Friday, April 26th. We're super excited to see these budding thespians in their very first production, and this is truly, as a former elementary principal, this is truly where the love for drama begins. So kudos to that crew for getting that going. We're excited about our 40th annual district-wide art show, and band and chorus concert will be held on May 3rd and 4th. The band and chorus concert begins at 6:30, and the art show is directly following from 7 to 9 on Friday, May 3rd, and again on Saturday, May 4th from 10 to 2. This was really one of my favorite events last year. I would encourage people to get there early and see the band and chorus concert, because it's a small group, but it was really moving. There's a lot of support for each other, and there's a lot of great talent. So we hope that you'll find some time for that. Oh, yes, and we have a little flyer to hold up too.
Personal invite at your seat.
Yeah, thank you. You should have one of these, and it's got all of the details on the back. And also at TMHS, we're looking forward to the Addams Family Theater production, which will be running April 25th through the 27th. The 21st Century and the Penguin Pride programs are ready to launch their spring sessions. These programs are grant-funded after-school enrichment opportunities for students in special populations and for those students who are recommended by their teacher. Activities include physical education, hands-on projects again, and social-emotional learning activities. Both programs are offered free of charge. The 21st Century program is beginning its third session this school year, actually today. I believe it began at the Dewing School. We have about 45 students registered to attend. And the Penguin Pride program at Heathbrook School is also underway, and we have about 30 students registered for that one. We're also planning to run a combined program this summer that will run for about 6 weeks. More information will come as we finalize all of our summer programming. A huge thank you. You hear her name a lot. You don't see her so much, but Dr. Cindy Bastieri for her tireless dedication to obtaining these grants and managing these programs. It simply wouldn't be possible without her and the amazing staff who work with the students in these programs. So we're very grateful for them. Professional development is coming up again. We have a half-day professional development day coming on Wednesday, May 1st. This is an early release day for all students. These will be building-based workshop days for teachers, and the time will be dedicated for presentations of impact, which is basically a time where teachers are given an opportunity to showcase the work that they've accomplished all year in their PLCs, their professional learning communities. And we are thrilled to say that we wrapped up the ELA MCAS at Center School last week, and all went well. Congratulations to our third graders, and our fourth graders, of course, but the third graders, it is the very first time that they take MCAS, and I think that they always walk away with a little bit of relief that it's actually survivable, and they're okay. This week, ELA MCAS is in full swing at the Ryan and the Wynn schools, so just continue for families to keep an eye on the calendar as we move through April, May, and June with math and science testing. Lastly, on behalf of the Tewksbury Beautification Committee, I'd like to remind everyone of the Springtown Cleanup Day scheduled for Saturday, May 4th, and don't forget to bring a donation to the food pantry. That concludes my update.
Sorry, writing down those dates.
Thought I lost you there for a minute.
Most of this will be, as much of it possible will be in the district newsletter as well, so.
And I have to stack it, but what I need to.
You've got it, you've got it.
Thank you so much. Any comments, Mrs. McDermott's update?
Thank you.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, none at this time, thank you.
No,
We're
thank
letting
you
off-
very much.
letting her off easy.
Yeah, no, these are easy. Thank you. Mr. Libby?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of updates on projects and bids we have going on in the business office. The Heathbrook project, we opened bids today for the subcontractors on those projects, some of the trades, roofing, electrical, HVAC, and ceiling work were open today. Next week, we open the bids for the general contractors. So those subcontractor bids will be incorporated into the general contractor bids that we will open next week. So that project is moving along towards a finalized price, which we will have for completion next week. Our Wynn HVAC project is moving along. I know the contractor's been in touch with us to order the parts, supplies, and have those on hand for this summer so that they'll be able to install in the classroom areas of the Wynn school beginning shortly after school gets out. They were talking about maybe getting some preliminary work done over April vacation, maybe some demo work, but I don't think they're ready yet. So I think we're looking at starting soon after school is out in June. We had a bid out on our copier fleet. Copier contract is a big contract in schools. It's expiring in June, and we have 36 machines around the district, 4 of which we own. So there were 32 leases we were looking to replace. We asked for an increase in the color capacity. So we were, currently we have 9 color machines in the fleet, and we put it out to bid to increase that to 14 around the district to kind of increase the ability for teachers to access color copying throughout the buildings. We've received back some very aggressive pricing from the 5 bidders that put bids in, and we're still evaluating those with our consultant on the copiers, and we'll be awarding that bid, I would guess, within the next week or so. And last update I had for you is on our bus app. The half-days have been programmed and to, we tried for Monday. I called them in the morning to see if they could adjust the times. Turns out there's two different softwares that need to talk to each other, so it has to happen 24 hours in advance and get updated at midnight to the second software. So it wasn't able to happen for Mondays. I didn't think of it in time for Mondays 1 hour early release. So the first tests for us will be Friday when we do our early dismissal, but they did go through the school calendar and reset all the half-days for the rest of the year. So hopefully Friday, we'll have the bus app working, tracking buses for parents on half-days. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
No.
No, thank you for keeping us updated on the bus
Okay.
app. Thank you.
Can we give them the 24/5 calendar now so we can start prepping
Exactly.
for the future,
Yeah,
just so that they're prepared? I mean, because,
certainly.
just, I think we don't want to repeat what happened in fall, I think,
Right.
last year. So if we can get a handle on that ahead of time, I think many parents will be happy for that,
Yep.
myself included.
Ms. Vito Smith?
No questions.
No, thank you. And I look forward to the update on the Heathbrook, of course, and the copier information, so thank you. Next, on the consent agenda, it looks like pretty much everything in the consent agenda was covered by the staff report, so.
I'll make a motion.
Questions or comments? Yep, good.
Did MASC Day on the Hill, did we cover that?
My mistake. Actually, I did have that in my updates, and thank you for catching that, Mr. Moncada. The MASC Day on the Hill, and as soon as I can find it in your agenda, maybe you can find it faster than me, as to what day it is running.
May 6th.
May 6th, which obviously is a wonderful time for school committee members, as well as a select student group, to meet with legislators. Here's some presentation, wonderful breakfast and lunch provided by some vocational schools. But you have the invite. You should have also received it in the mail. And certainly, hopefully, you can attend. And if you can, and you need help with Ms. Johnson registering you, reach out to her, because you'll want to make sure our legislators are available to meet with you after the lunch.
And just an update, I did hear back already from Vanna Howard and from,
Tom?
Trom Wynn, who both have scheduled us for 1 and 1:30. So there's at least 2 of our legislators that are interested in meeting with us for that day.
Mr. Moncada, again, if you need Ms. Johnson, it's a wonderful time to have their ear.
So at that, any questions or comments on, thank you.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented this evening.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the consent agenda is approved as submitted. Mrs. Biagioni Smith. And next on our school committee member reports, we'll start with the Tewksbury CPAC with Mrs. Biagioni Smith.
Sure. So actually, our meeting is tomorrow. But something I do want to point out is that elections are coming up for their board, for the CPAC. They will vote on board members on May 16th, and they ask for nominations to be in 10 days prior. So nominations would be due on May 6th. If anyone's interested and wants to come tomorrow night, just to get a feel for things, put their name in, ask any questions. I'll have an update next meeting.
Okay, thank you. For Wellness Advisory, that would be,
Yeah.
any questions or comments on CPAC?
Can I just one question, just for a point of business? You mentioned the meeting is tomorrow night. Is it April 25th? Because that's what's in our,
Tomorrow is the 11th.
yes. On the agenda, it says the next CPAC business meeting is April 25th, so I just wanted to double check.
April, it is April 11th.
It is April 11th, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second one on the 25th then as
There's
well?
not that I know of. I know that there was some movement because of plays.
Okay, oh, yeah.
So with the high school play happening here.
Yeah.
So maybe that
So
just
that's
didn't get
why
to
it
Ms.
got
Johnson.
pushed. Okay.
Apologies.
Corrected.
It's your eyeballs. Good job.
Okay, any other comments on CPAC?
No.
Okay. Wellness Advisory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to attend, so Mrs. Biagioni Smith.
Yeah,
if you
sure.
can-
So the wellness meeting happened last week. It
Yes,
was.
yeah.
It was a good conversation. We talked a lot about some hot topics. Yonder Pouches came up. Having the student there from the WIN was nice to have her perspective on that a little bit. We also had a significant conversation around two pretty important topics, one being vape in the schools. And Officer Reiser was present and let us know that there was a quote on the table for some vape detectors in the high school. And I'm looking forward to hearing more on that and some feedback on that initiative. We also heard from Maria Ruggiero on a survey that was conducted with the high school students and the WIN students in the spring, I think I heard on spring of 2023, that focused on communities that care. It was a youth survey focused around students that are at risk for drug, alcohol, antisocial behaviors, and so forth, and get a pulse on our students and see how they're feeling, what they're exposed to, what they're seeing at home, what they're doing at home, how that presents in school, and so forth. And Ms. Ruggiero was able to provide that data. It's a lot of data, so it's a lot to comb through, but it'll be interesting to see what we can do with that to try to get ahead of some of these students and whether it's guidance or health or programs that we're putting into school through the wellness committee, through the schools, whatever it might be. Very good conversation. Ms. Garabini was able to join with Rich being, Ms. Russo being unavailable, so I think I've covered a good amount.
Yeah.
Anything else?
It was a great meeting, actually. It went well. Any questions or comments? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Policy Subcommittee, Mrs. Anderson, myself, Mrs. Regan had met recently, and as was mentioned earlier, working on the homework policy. Please take the surveys. We're also looking at fundraising policy, and our next meeting is on 4/25/24. That's that. We can move, any questions on policy subcommittee? Moving on to policy changes, proposals, and adoption. The only thing that we're bringing forward this month is for a first and final reading, and it's, first one is ADDA on background checks. And then you should have in your packet, the version that we are proposing that we vote on and adopt tonight.
Yep.
Any comments?
The only question I just had on it is, and I was a little confused, and Ms. Garabini, I know you and I maybe discussed this briefly, but in terms of employees in the district or potential future employees in the district, how often, well, I guess it would be with current employees, how often do we actually run Corey checks? Is it annually, or could it be with, I think it said not less than 3 years? So we're doing it periodically based on what, I guess?
We're doing it at this, no employee can start
Yeah.
without the Corey, as well
course.
as the fingerprinting.
Yeah.
So they don't come into the building. I believe we do the Corys every 2 years as well for all of the,
Might be 3 years if they have not left the district.
yeah.
So, I mean, are there employees, are some employees every 2 years, and then some employees are every 3 years, and so what determines what bucket they fit into? I guess?
We'll run a blanket, everybody.
Okay.
On that, cycle.
Cycle, okay.
However, if
Got
you
it.
had just
Yeah.
been hired, the year before, yes,
Right.
you're going to be getting that again.
Yeah.
So we run the blanket, everyone does it, and it's
Okay.
all employees. So it's, but every single new employee, and as well as, interns,
Yeah.
volunteers, whatever that is,
Right.
the Corey is done. We don't necessarily require fingerprinting for everyone that walks through the door, but Corey's we do.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, so this is a recommendation for adoption with no changes.
So I'll make a motion to approve in the first and final reading, policy ADDA.
Is there-
And actually, are we doing ADDR as well? I apologize.
You have a motion for ADDA, that was what I put on the table.
Oh, I just made the motion.
Yeah, right. Is there a second?
I will second the recommendation to approve ADDA with no changes as presented.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 And that was a motion by Mr. Russo, second by Mrs. Biagioni Smith. Next, we move on to ADDAR, which is model Corey policy. So, and again, this is adoption with no changes. This is a first and final reading as well. Any comment or discussion regarding this policy? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion?
Make a motion to adopt policy ADDA-R as presented with no changes.
I'll second it.
Okay. And motion by Mr. B. Smith, second by Mr. Russo. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. And next is our budget review approval vote. Is there any discussion, or Mr. Libby, is there any introduction that you'd like to share?
No, it's just, we've reviewed our budget several times. This is kind of reflective of the current state of contracts and negotiations. We're really, the budget gets approved at town meeting, so we're really passing along our recommendation for the bottom line budget amount that we think we can operate under. Could still be movement within categories, but we are within our rights to change that after town meeting. This is what's going to be on town meeting floor, though, in May. So after that, if we need to change anything, we would do budget amendments between now and the beginning of school next year, or during the school year next year.
Okay, so right now, the budget that is being proposed for us to approve to move forward to town meeting for town approval is $75,151,409. Is there any discussion or a motion for that?
I just have one question, Mr. Libby. In terms of I know the total amount didn't change from last time we met. Is the only real changes just in between, just based on how negotiations are going with collective bargaining units?
Yeah, that would be the only.
That's the only, okay.
If we find out about a savings in health insurance, find out savings on, in any category, or costs in any category, we might need to shift some funds.
Thank you.
All right.
Any other clarification?
No.
All right. I'll make a motion then to recommend that the school committee approve the FY25 budget in the amount of $75,151,409 onto town meeting.
Second that.
Okay, so all in favor? Mr. Moncada, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Joni Smith?
Aye.
And so I vote aye as well, and that confirms the FY25 budget of $75,151,409 has been approved by the committee unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Libby, again, for all your work. And 2023 negotiating subcommittee assignments. So typically, this isn't something that we do on the same night where we would have a reorg. However, we do have some dates on the books for the month of April. So I would like for us to consider looking at that in April so that members who will represent negotiating teams will actually be able to represent the teams that they'll represent. Do you have that in front of you by any chance? Okay. So that would, if I could just review briefly, on custodians, it would be for Katie Anderson and Chris Moncada. ESPs would remain Bridget Garabedian and Mr. Russo. Food services, Mr. Russo, Moncada. Nurses, Mrs. B. Joni Smith, Mrs. Anderson. Secretaries, Mrs. B. Joni Smith, Ms. Anderson. TAG, Bridget Garabedian and Mrs. B. Joni Smith. And the TTA remains Bridget Garabedian and Mr. Russo. Is there a motion for adoption of that or discussion?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the 23-24 negotiating subcommittee assignments as just presented.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you.
We will be looking at the additional subcommittee assignments that we participate in May. So we'll just table that for now. The next in new business, we have the TMHS Project Lead the Way grant.
Well, there's more. I'm very, very proud to share with you that we have been awarded a grant from the 1-8 Foundation for Project Lead the Way in the high school engineering program. Our teachers and students are participating in high-quality applied learning through Project Lead the Way. This $40,000 grant spans over 3 years. I won't read it, you've had it in your packet, but you can see the bullets. This grant is very powerful in supporting and planning these high-quality STEM-type courses, as well as adding additional professional learning opportunities for our teachers. But I think the real key here is also connecting our students and teachers to real-world industry professionals. And many of these classes, it builds on classes and course opportunities we already have that can lead to real industry certifications. So again, people who are really pivotal in this are Ms. Baker O'Brien. She's been leading the charge on our STEM pathway programs, now adding this to it. Patrick Cassidy, Mike Hancock are two of the teachers that will be participating in an August summer training with Project Lead the Way. Mary Jo Kelleher, and we're getting every penny out of her when we gave her that stipend to really build on the innovation pathway. And again, of course, our Dr. Cynthia Basteri for finding these grants for us. So very exciting. Again, we keep growing the programming, and these options are being introduced to our students through the guidance department.
Great. Any discussion? Okay, my only question, I see at $40,000 over 3 years?
Yes.
Okay, it's exciting.
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate seeing your press release on this, because I think it's important for our community to understand.
Thank you. That'll go
some of
out
these
tomorrow.
programs. So, yeah, thank you.
Well, oh, wait a minute. Thank you. I did see the eyebrow raised, Mr. Russo. I appreciate this does require a roll call vote because it is a grant that hasn't been formally approved. And after you vote, I can then pick up with the process, the press release, and then signing up.
So just for point of clarification, we're approving the acceptance of the grant.
Acceptance of
Yeah.
the grant, yes.
So I will make that motion to approve the $40,000 grant over the 3-year span from the 1-8 Foundation.
I'll second.
Okay, and Mr. Mercado, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Russo, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mrs. Bajoni?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well to accept the $40,000 over 3-year grant from Project 8.
Thank you.
1-8 Foundation, sorry.
Mr.
Okay,
Libby?
and then next is the AlphaBest update, contract addendum.
Alphabet stuff.
Can we take it? So we had received a contract addendum proposal from Alphabest, basically keeping the terms of the contract the same, with the exception of a slight tuition increase request on their part. It's reflected in the document, and I gave you folks earlier a document with the current price. The increase is, a few dollars a month, basically for the before-school program, ranging from $7 a month to $2 a month increase, depending on how many days you go. On the after-school program, increase from $3 to $13 a month, depending on, again, how many days you go. So not a huge increase, and we haven't seen an increase from them since the 2021 school year. It won't impact any, there's no impact on our funding that we receive from Alphabest. We have a minimum amount in our contract that we receive from them every year. So not really impactful on our side, so.
Okay. Any discussion, questions, comments?
Just to clarify, there's no change to summer? This is just the regular school?
Good point. No change to summer, right.
The only thing I would comment, I'm noticing in the 24-25 school year, there's an early release half-day punch pass that didn't exist previously.
Correct.
How does that work?
Yeah, so it was, let me see, how did this work before?
Mr. Libby, I can just, yeah, you would purchase a punch pass in advance for X number of days, and each time, if there's an early release day, you used your punch pass like you would a card, and you'd have, say, you bought 5 of them, and whatever that 168.
I'm not, the logistics, I understand,
Oh.
but how many, it's $168. So I guess my question was, I should have been more specific, my
Sorry.
fault.
Yeah.
How many days?
I thought that got you all of the
So it's all,
early release half-days,
okay,
if I
okay.
Better than,
remember correctly.
How many half-days do they realize we have?
Extra this year.
So,
I might need to change that.
that would be something to clarify.
yeah,
It used to be a set number.
okay. Yeah, so I
Perhaps we
just
can
was
clarify
curious what
that.
that meant. So, okay, that's, we could sort that out later, but if that's the case, that's great. All right, I have no further questions, comments, but that is for our consideration with a vote, so.
So again, just for point of clarification, so we're approving, not the pricing, we're approving the contract extension.
Correct.
Okay.
Which includes the pricing.
Which include, right.
Yeah.
Who's the person?
So I'll make the motion then to approve the Alphabet's contract extension through the 2026 school year.
A second.
Point of clarification, we're extending
Oh,
the
no,
contract?
and it's
Yeah.
24, 25.
Yeah, but it's through, the contract is being extended through 25, 26. That's what I'm trying to clarify.
Yes?
Oh, no,
We're just, my understanding that we're
The
just
rate
approving
change-
the structure of the
Yeah.
cost.
That's not the way this is worded in our packet, that's why I'm asking.
Okay,
the contract exists for 3 years already.
So the
This is-
extension addendum that is in our packet exists today or does not exist today?
We have a contract with them through 26. They're asking to
Right.
change the rates for the
the
last 2 years.
current contract addendum, not extension,
Addendum,
right?
Okay.
right.
To the current contract that exists.
Yeah,
So then let me reword my motion then. I'll make the motion to approve the contract addendum, which exists through the 25, 26 school year.
right. I'm sorry, I was looking at the contract today, and there's a 3-year contract with a
why I
2-year
wanted to-
possible extension,
No,
so I was,
I hear what you're saying, yeah.
And before I approve that, or second that as well, the addendum itself says 2023, 2024, 24, 25. It does not say one for 25, 26 yet, so we are just, the addendum itself is,
It does, though. It says through June 30th, 2026.
we're,
I think this is the handout of the increase. I
Oh,
think
am I
what
missing
we're
it on
just
mine?
looking at
it's
is
in
the addendum.
The packet.
in that packet. Okay. Mickey,
yeah, that
I'm just
was,
looking at what I'm looking at right in front of me.
Little confusion there.
It's the 9th.
Yep, correct, okay. Is there a second?
I will second the motion made by Mr. Russo.
Okay. And roll call vote, how do you vote, Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
Mrs. Buchanan Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Thank you for clarifying, Mr. Libby. And then our next is school choice.
Yes, Madam Chair, each year annually, the school committee needs to take a vote on whether or not we'll participate in school choice. I am recommending that we vote not to participate in school choice at this time, and the bullet actually has a typo in it. Truly, it's the increased capacity we're seeing at the Center Elementary School. I think the work our school facilities study committee really needs to happen before we make this an option in Tewksbury if you choose to do so, and certainly with the uncertainty of the collective bargaining right now that we're undertaking. So again, this requires a roll call vote of the committee.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, this is also a roll call vote.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation from the superintendent with not accepting school choice here in Tewksbury.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Moncada, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
Mrs. Biagioni Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to forego school choice for this school year. And last school day.
Yes, although the 23-24 TPS calendar included 5 snow days with an anticipated last day of school on June 21st, we were lucky enough to only have 1 snow day on February 13th. Our superintendent does an outstanding job calling these days, and she probably knew better on this one as well, but she went with the majority. So it is recommended the official last day of school be Friday, June 14th. It's a half day, so we'd follow the typical early release day schedule, and this also does require a roll call vote.
Okay. Any discussion?
I feel like the students are already out just based on the senior project traffic going in and out of my house right now. I will make a motion to accept and approve the last day of school for the 23-24 school year as June 14th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Russo, second by Mrs. Biagioni Smith, to accept the last day of school as June 14th as an early release day as well. Mr. Moncada, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
Mrs. Biagioni Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well. And
Okay, Madam Chair, the last item on our new business is the 2025 school committee meeting dates. This is a draft for your convenience. It's informational only, and we hope to take a vote on this schedule on May 1st.
perfect. I think especially with Mrs. Anderson not present, I think that would be the best interest. Perhaps if people have significant conflicts with these dates, you could let myself know, let Mrs. Johnson know. And, we could try to come back with a schedule that seems to maybe work better for everybody, or maybe this one works great for everybody. So, great. Next is school committee matters of interest. Any matters of interest for anyone? Mr. Russo?
Yeah, I have a couple. Just, we did meet with the district security team meeting earlier this week on Monday. Topics covered, again, the Yonder pouches, obviously that's a big thing, the vape campaign, and just trying to, talk about some of the detectors and things that we are trying to think about ahead of, get ahead of. And then also the last Alice fire drill as well was covered for the remainder of this school year. And then just lastly, from my perspective, shout out to the Heathbrook School, Miss Niles. She put a full schedule together for Mrs. Garabedian and myself. Staff were extremely welcoming, took time out of their schedules to answer questions of us when we had them. We got to partake in a lot of the different things that the staff go through throughout the day, from whether it's PLC to prep to common planning time, transition time, et cetera. So extremely helpful, especially again going through some of the collective bargaining that we're doing. So just a shout out to the Heathbrook for that and being so welcoming.
That's great, yeah. Mr. Moncada?
Well, I'm thankful and grateful to be here, of course. I hope I can be an effective member of the committee. This is the time of year that the PACs are looking for volunteers for things, the year-end stuff, so everyone should be looking for, if they can help, they can please help the PACs. Thank you for the early release on Monday for was it Monday? Yeah, the eclipse, right? Yeah, so thankful for that. And looking forward to the plays at the end of the year, or end of the month, I apologize. So that'll be fun.
Great. Ms. Biagioni Smith?
Yep, I echo Mr. Moncada. I know Ms. McDermott mentioned the Center Elementary School Peter Pan play, TMHS doing the Addams Family. We also have the Win that's doing The Hearing. It's a short play, and I hope Mr. DePrima is not watching because I will mess up everything I say about it. But it's a short play, and then they will do it on May 2nd and May 3rd in town, and then they will move on to a competition with that production with 4 other schools. I think there's 5 altogether. So looking forward to The Hearing, which I've heard a lot about. Also wanted to call out Cultural Night because I went, and I went last year too. It's probably one of my favorite
Oh, so it did happen
It
last year?
did
I
happen.
don't remember knowing that it happened last year.
It was wonderful.
That was good.
It was so, so good. The families that bring in their food and their stories about where they go, what they do. I've got a list of restaurants that I need to go to pick up new ingredients that I don't know how to pronounce, but it's such a great night. Everybody is wearing, not everybody, but they bring clothing from their culture and the kids get to try it on and all of that. So it is a wonderful night. The students that are running it, the staff that's there to support it, incredible night. So if anybody can go next year, make time on your calendar because it is a really wonderful evening. And then to call out the town cleanup day, which I saw in our packet, but just to throw it out there, it's hopefully going to be nice weather come May and not whatever we're dealing with now. And hopefully people get out and pick a spot to beautify our town a little, May 4th. And that is all for me.
Great. A bunch of stuff is already mentioned tonight, so I'll just keep it to, again, like you said, Mr. Russo, thank you so much to the Heathbrook staff and community for being so welcoming to us. It was a great day. Again, please get your input on the Palomino and Chrissy Palomino and Ginsburg Awards, which are due on Friday. Our next school committee meeting on May 1st, we're going to have a volunteer reception. This is for all volunteers in the district, whether you've served on PACs, or you've worked in the library, you've come into the classrooms on a regular basis. We have a tremendous number of volunteers at the high school that work in different booster capacities. So I think we're trying to bring all of our volunteers together and really show the recognition for the amount of parent, family, community involvement that happens that really keeps the school community as enriched as it is. Have a happy and healthy April vacation, everyone. Our future school committee meeting dates, May 1st, we have a regular meeting. May 6th, we have an annual town meeting, and May 8th is also the special town meeting. You will see us there. On May 22nd, we have a regular meeting. We may or may not hold an executive session prior to town meeting, so if that's the case, we would put that on our agendas, or we would post that. Future subcommittee and advisory committee meeting dates, the CPAC, as was discussed, is tomorrow the 11th. Wellness advisory is on June 5th. Policy subcommittee on April 25th. For future agenda items, anybody have anything they want to throw out there for future agenda items?
I think it's time that we had, it's been a little while since we've had Ms. Mugford in on food services and nutrition in the district. I think I'd like to have her come in and present if possible.
And just maybe for point of reference, I think robotics, it's been a couple of years, I think, since we've seen robotics, so I'd like to see, they've had a nice win under their belt this month, so I think it would be great to recognize them in some way. The CPAC, we're expecting in June.
Yep.
Anything else, Mrs. Biagioni-Smith, Mr. Moncada?
No.
No, thank you.
Okay, great.
A motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion to adjourn and a second. Meeting is adjourned at 8:42.
Everyone's in favor.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Jason.